What's going on, everybody? Bobbybarks here, and welcome to my review of episode 4 for HBO's The Last of Us. If you're not caught up on the show, this is your spoiler warning. After the genuine heartbreak of episode 3, things are a lot more casual in this week's episode. It is one that's filled with plenty of references to the game and the setup of some deviations that we're beginning to become a little bit accustomed to. But at the centre of it all, we have Joel and Ellie, who are finally getting that extended one-on-one time. While the latest episode is entitled Please Hold On To My Hand, isn't quite as dramatic or even memorable as the last episode, there are plenty of stellar, subtle moments between its two leads that keeps things interesting. The episode title is taken from the Hank Williams song Ellie gives to Joel during their road trip. Ramsey's portrayal of Ellie feels as though the actress has grown more comfortable with the role as time has gone on. The mishmash of humour, anxiety and trauma is delicately balanced in Ramsey's performance, and I hope this will go a long way to winning over those that were initially unsure about her casting. While Pascal is continually impressed with his more deadpan take on Joel, it is together that the two characters really come to life, and episode director Jeremy Webb isn't afraid to hone in on the quiet moments. While the cutscenes in the game were excellent, a lot of my love for these characters stemmed from the downtime we got with them as they traverse cities, countryside, and dilapidated neighbourhoods. It's nice to see that those mundane gameplay moments are being revisited in the TV show, as the two bicker and even chuckle together as that infamous pun book finally makes an appearance. In all honesty, I could have watched double the episode length of Joel and Ellie getting to know each other, and one of episode 4's biggest sins for me was actually being too short. It is the shortest of episodes so far, and the superb pacing is interlaced with the aforementioned character moments, and small bursts of violence felt like the episode goes by in a flash. It certainly left me eager for next week, because also it's the first time we have a story set up that doesn't entirely conclude in a singular episode. Guest star Melanie Lynskey makes her debut as Kathleen in the episode, commanding the Raiders who have seized control of Kansas City. Lynskey does solid enough work as the biggest single antagonist introduced in the series so far, but she doesn't come off as particularly intimidating presence. Kathleen certainly commits villainous acts in the episode, but never quite rises above the personification of the banality of evil. This is to say that Kathleen feels like an ordinary person who has simply fallen into a villainous path. This distinction could be a deliberate one, and we may get the character fleshed out further in episode 5, but the result of being an antagonist for episode 4 just felt a little bit underwhelming. In fact, it's Perry, who's played by Jeffrey Pierce, voice actor for Tommy in The Last of Us video games, who comes across as a more disturbing antagonist. Pierce is fierce in this role, and he gives off this menacing personality, and I do hope that we get to see him and Joel go at it in episode 5. Perry, for all intents and purposes, is the leader of the squad that Kathleen relies on to enforce her leadership. It's an interesting deviation from the game, as the people living here in Kansas City appear to be civilians from the QZ that overthrew Fedra and want to do things their way. In the game, these scenes take place in Pittsburgh, and the people occupying it are essentially hunters who entrap passerbys, killing and thieving their possessions. In episode 4, it feels like this group of bandits are a more civilised organisation, and there does seem to be some humanity and some vengefulness about Kathleen when she feels that her son has been unrightfully murdered. There's also some concern from Kathleen and Perry about what's under the floor in the apartment block, so I'm assuming in next week's episode this is where we'll see our first bloater, as the trailer shows the bloater escaping from the underground. Speaking of next week's episode, it will be airing early, this coming Friday on HBO Max, so chances are I'll get my review out over the weekend. After a riotous handful of episodes, Please Hold On To My Hand slows its pace to focus on the smaller character moments. I'm sure fans like me of the game will find themselves grinning away at the cute interactions, which at this point feel entirely earned. But of course, this is The Last of Us, so you still have your burst of violence, and I especially love getting to see Ellie react to it all. While it may not be quite as impactful as other episodes, this week gave us a breather, one still filled with death and danger, but also a modicum of hope. This is the yin and yang of The Last of Us, and it's heartwarming to see those moments of light among the dark. The episode also introduces Henry and Sam, two great characters from the video game. There's lots of talk about the two of them from Kathleen and the Kansas City Mafia, aka KCM, as I'll now refer to them as. Kathleen does seem to hold Henry responsible for a lot of the problems, and she's desperate for Perry to find them. The brothers appear at the end of the episode having managed to sneak up on Joel, despite his best attempts to prevent this. The standout performance in this episode is definitely Ramsey, in my opinion. This is where I finally felt like she transformed into Ellie of the video game. I understand die-hard fans of the game are continually comparing her and don't believe she visually represents the character, but her acting is just simply remarkable, and the episode should go a long way to convincing people she has what it takes to be Ellie. The relationship between her and Joel is clearly blossoming, with the former finally letting out some laughter for what is probably the first time in a long time. It's interesting to see each of our leads teaching the other, Joel teaching Ellie how to survive, and Ellie teaching Joel how to live. That's it from me for episode 4. As I say, the episode 5 review should be out a little bit earlier, given the episode is airing earlier. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.